Hello everyone out there in the Lucksack Legion. Alex here with Lucksack Games, and I'm here with Legacy 8 Mulch again. And this looks like a reasonable keep. We've got an exploration effect, a green source, and a life in the loam, as well as a crop rotation to help us find the missing half of the combo that we may be still needing. Additionally, we have Bojuka Bog in case we are against a graveyard-based deck. We will be able to fight back on that axis. Although it looks like we are against Blue-Red Delver. Starting with a DRC, Dragon Rage Channeler. Alright, so opponent's getting aggro right from the get-go. I think we're just going to start on an exploration into Wasteland them. If we got lucky, this is a fairly land-light deck. We might have caught them with their hand in the cookie jar, so to say, and they may not have another mana source. Looks like they do indeed have another mana source, so we didn't quite get the free one. But they're still only attacking for just one. Alright, that was a great draw. So here we can either Winding Way or Life in the Loam. I like Winding Way here because it gives us the option to not only hit the Wasteland, which is the only thing we'd pick up with Life in the Loam, but also all the other powerful lands in our deck, like let's say a Tabernacle. Alright, we hit the Wasteland. That's still pretty good. Dark Depths and Crop Rotation. Alright, so we have we definitely have combos that we can work our way towards here. Starting with the Thespian stage that we can the Dark Depths, which we can crop rotation into a Thespian stage to try and combo with. We can do that as early as next turn, assuming the opponent does not have counter magic or wastelands. That being said, if the opponent does have counter magic and wastelands, it's going to be pretty bad for us. Opponent correctly identifying their role and going face with this bolt. It's really the only place that this bolt can go is towards my face. Alright, so while they're tapped down, I'm going to go ahead and crop rotation and go ahead and grab that Thespian stage. They can't brainstorm here. They can't, I could be playing into a daze, but that's fine. Got him with the Wasteland. Beautiful. Alright, cool. Alright, so the deck is very, very tiny. I'm very sorry for that. I'm possibly overboarding for the Delver matchups. Definitely leave your thoughts down below. I'm not sure if I should be bringing in the ley lines as well as the Pyroblasts and the jabs. I'm not even 100% sure I should be bringing in the Pyroblasts. I know I definitely bring those in against Daze Undoing. There's a lot of cards, though, that, like, the crop rotation should probably come out. The Karakas obviously comes out since they play literally 0 legendary creatures. Bog is a hit and miss. It's good when it's good, but it's a tap black source when it's bad, you know? Tabby can be good at constricting their mana. Can't believe I took out one of each of the Dark Depths Thespian stage combo. That seems so wild. I do not have the sideboarding mapped out quite with this deck yet, but yeah, that still seems wild to me. Interesting second hand. The first hand was a snap mulligan. Apparently I decided to keep this one. Double Pyroblast is certainly interesting, but I would imagine, yeah. The choices were between Waterlogged Grove there and the Field of the Dead. Field of the Dead entering tapped, kind of a bummer. Even though it works us towards a longer game. See, and we could have put Thespian stage on the bottom. We were drawing it anyways. Double check to make sure we boarded one out. And we're just going to kill this Delver right now. I'm not going to let them untap with more protection, more counter magic. Just going to shock myself and bolt the Delver. And it dies. Alright, so either the opponent did not have Force of Will or chose not to use it. Ponder. Alright. Quite possible that the opponent is stuck on land since they did fetch a basic. We do still definitely have Ghost Quarter in the deck, so that might be something we're playing to as well. They are wastelanding us. Alright. As the old adage goes, if both players are wastelanding each other, one of you is doing something wrong. So let's find out if it's us or them. So we put them onto 0 lands thanks to top decking that Ghost Quarter. They did take us off this Pyroblast, and it looks like they have lands for days, so... And just another land draw. Not too strong. At least it allows us to have access to red again. But we really need one of our either our ramp effects or one of our mulch effects. Ideally, we draw Manabond off the top. Alright, fetching in response to their fetch to play around Stifle. I know it's probably an unlikely card to be played by the opponent, but it never hurts. Opponent plays second fetch, and likely I'm guessing this is a Murktide. Those volcanic islands could not have been tapped any quicker. And there's the old Murky Boy. We're going to try and fight down the stack, but I'm imagining this is where the Force of Will comes out. So we're top decking into maybe Maze of Iths are pretty good. Making a 2020 would be amazing. Alright, a duplicate of a legendary land isn't exactly what we're looking for. Thankfully this Murktide, while it came down on reasonably fast, it is not very big. So even though he has a Murktide, we can still fight through this. Expressive Iteration, that's a little scary. That's going to definitely reload the tank on their 2-card hand. Ooh, but weren't able to cast another spell. Missed the land on it, apparently. And we hit Mulch. Mulch is a very good draw. If we hit Dark Depths, then that puts us pretty dang close to comboing. The cool thing about Mulch versus Winding Way is you don't actually have to select you want lands. Mulch can only get lands, whereas Winding Way can get lands or creatures, depending on what you choose. And look at that. Maze of Ith. That's going to hopefully stave off this Murktide for a little bit. No guarantees. We gotta see where this game goes still. For all we know, we played this Maze of Ith and the opponent immediately wastelands it. Or plays a second Murktide, or any of the other ways that this ends absolutely nightmarishly for us. Oh, it's doing stuff. Oh, another EI. Tapped Mystic Sanctuary. I have to feel that is not the situation he wanted to play that in, but it's probably the only land he has access to, so... Something about beggars and choosers. I mean, we get to Winding Way here first. Potentially overdraw. Opponent's thinking about Force of Willing. Oh, they're reading Winding Way. Okay, yeah, it's literally just Mulch in this deck. It just happens to have flavor text that says I can go after creatures if I want. technically speaking, post board, I potentially could cast this card to grab Collector Oof versus the few decks that matters against, but it's unlikely to come up. Alright, opponent's still in the tank on this one though. Maybe this draws out a Force of Will. I think that would be great for us. Because they don't... Oh, it did. Oh, see, that's just amazing. Pitching Force. Alright, and then we play Maze to answer the Murktide for now and pass the turn. They have to develop a second threat now. They cannot ride this Murktide all the way across the finish line. Alright, we have our next threat. Is it a second Murktide? That would make a lot of sense. It is a second Murktide. Alright, so we need a second Maze Bith pretty quick. I do remember how my card works, opponent. Good try, though, for this swing. Good try. So I do have enough Thespian stages that I can make a fair amount of Mazivus. Oh yeah, that's the one, isn't it? That's the one. No Field of the Dead, so okay, let's put it into play. Does it resolve? Were you sandbagging another Force of Will opponent? And jury says, verdict is, what do we got? Does Manabond? Oh, we got Manabond. That's good news. Every card in our hand is a land currently. So we are going to go ahead and activate its ability to drop it into play. We will have to sack the tap Yavimaya, but that's fine. So we should be able to have, at the end of this turn, three Mazivus? Oh, two, because I'm wastelanding. That's fine. Two Mazivus should still be sufficient. Two Mazivus for two threats, I guess. Definitely not ideal to be going to this low of a life total against an opponent with Lightning Bolt in their deck. Likely still has Lightning Bolt in their deck. I would imagine also has a bunch of hate pieces that they try to get down. Now, mind you, all we're doing when we get 2 or 3 Mazivus in play is stabilizing. We still haven't won the game yet. We're not even significantly ahead. Although a Dark Depths off the top or a Winding Way into a couple lands would be absolutely insane. Alright. We're at 2. Bolt us. Come on, we're dead. Do it. Ah, that was no bolt, but that red. Yep, that's a DRC that if it ever becomes delirious, we die. Alright then. If we fetch, it'll just become, if we ever can't answer it, we die. So yeah, this game became very tight. Alright, I'm at 2 life. What did we get? Lots of good draws on the deck right now. Show me something broken. Surgical extraction. Targeting crop rotation. Alright, so the opponent is trying to take the easy Dark Depths line out of my deck. So crop rotation entered the exile zone. They'll see exactly how we sideboarded versus them. Opponent is the good kind of Magic player that also took the ones in the grave. And our opponent shuffled us into, just lousy Manabond. We're not dead yet. There's no reason to concede. It's pretty likely that this DRC becomes delirious or something along those lines. But that world has not happened yet. And there's the Wasteland. Alright, so Wasteland kills, one of my mazes, and they get in for lethal. Alright, so they got us game 2. Can we rally it back for game 3? I did decide I want these ley lines. Makes sense. I mean, I got clowned on by some Murktides, that's for sure. Alright, so it looks like we're swapping up the sideboarding here a little bit with the information we were given. We definitely felt that we wanted the ley lines even over the Pyroblasts, because you don't have to counter a Murktide that can't even come into play. This hand's just pretty good, I'd say. Turn 1 Exploration, Field of the Dead is what I would guess. Well, mainly because Field of the Dead enters tapped, so it kind of makes for a nice smooth curve. Opponent is tanking, and we got Force of Will on the Exploration. That seems totally reasonable to me. Ooh, Dragon's Rage Channeler. Scary one. Alright, so I think we just Wasteland here. Just restrict their resources. We have a lot of powerful cards on our side of the table. We have Mazabeth to answer the Dragon Rage Channeler. We have Life in the Loam to pick up Wasteland to answer this Volcanic Island. And even though it's not a lot of damage, these DRCs can become delirious at any time. And then the game definitely turns a corner. A little awkward, our only untapped land is a shock land. Definitely getting some modern vibes there. Is this gonna resolve? Nope, the opponent's gonna force it. Alright, that's pretty reasonable, really. They think we're digging for the Mazabeth that we already have. Alright. Opponent is untapped. I'll let him have their upkeep at some point. When I realize I have an upkeep stop set. There I go. Oh no, Wasteland. That's actually pretty good. Because now we don't have an untapped land. We have to play a tapped one. Luckily, those channelers are still not delirious, though. Opponent is it no cards in hand, and we top deck Taiga. Painless Stomping Ground. Feels good. So obviously, the main plan is that we're going to wasteland them next turn. Alright, they got 3 water drops. Oh, shit. I would also accept a blast zone off the top. Dredge 3, pick a couple up. Oh great, now they already knew about the ley lines. That's no big deal. Let's just grab stage and try and end this game. Opponents have no cards in hand. If they flip to a spell, we'll know what spell. Did not flip to a spell, so now we just have to hope it's a fetch land, not a wasteland. Because we're going to make the 2020 immediately. They did not play a wasteland, so I'm going to... Ooh, and it's a Manabond. Alright then. So we just get to do all the things? Is that what that means? I'm going to play around Spell Pierce here. It just resolved. Oh yeah, we get to do all the things. So we're going to Field of the Dead, make a bunch of zombies. We're going to wasteland them off of their last mana source. And we're going to make a 2020. So opponent's going to unfortunately have 3 1/1s against our board of 32 power. Plus, we still have Maze of Ith, Manabond, Life in the Loam in the grave. This is absolutely insane. This deck's great. If you're not playing this deck, I don't know why you're not. Oh, it doesn't flip to the Brazen Borrower because it's a creature. Alright, good games, opponent. Alright, so we're back here for round 2 of this Legacy League with Legacy 8 Mulch. And this hand looks pretty good. We have some ramp, we have some selection, we have a tabernacle, we have a wasteland, and we have a life from the loam. So we're offered quite a few options on how we plan to control this game. And we get to be on the play. So let's see if this exploration resolves. Slight downside of having a pain land, of course. Pros and cons to playing each one of these 3 lands. Ultimately, I think we decided to go with the Dark Depths for the combo potential, but yes, indeed we did. With the Dark Depths in play, we could top deck a Yavimaya and immediately crop rotation into a Thespian stage to win the game. Additionally, is it the mirror match? Not with the Faithless Looting, it's not. Alright, so it looks to be Madness that we're playing against in this league. And so we'll see what they discard. Madness can come out of the gate very quickly, especially with their Lion's Eye Diamond draws. So let's just go ahead and let this Root Wallow resolve. And we'll go to our turn. On our turn, the ideal draw would just be off the top a Thespian stage so that we can just go Wasteland Thespian stage, make a 2020 and put him to the test. But if we don't draw that, we will likely Wasteland their only mana source and then Tabernacle them to immediately destroy their Root Wallow. It's very difficult for these Madness decks to keep creatures in play underneath a Tabernacle, especially since we have a Wasteland Life from the Loam lock set up here. Show me, it wasn't the Thespian stage we wanted to draw. However, we're going to Wasteland Tabernacle to clear the opponent's board, and then next turn we will Life from the Loam to pick back up Wasteland. Little amusing that 2 out of 3 of our lands do not currently produce mana, and we won the game. Again, these decks run on very few lands, so that was likely their only mana source. So let's move to sideboarding. Alright, so for sideboarding, since they are a Vengevine deck, we're obviously going to grab these ley lines. Potential that they have ley lines against us, but I don't think that really matters, as we can combo several ways through a ley line. And we have mainboard Boseiju. No legendary creatures means that Caracas can go ahead and exit. It's a little shame that we don't have any traditional removal. Flame Jab could pick off the little 1/1 lizards. Not sure if that's worth it, though. Alright, let's get ready for game 2 here. This hand looks pretty good. It's a little bit slower on the combo side, but we have 2 green sources, a ley line, a mulch. I think this one's one of the few times it's fine to keep a hand without a Manabond or a Exploration. Okay, opponent's leading off on basic mountain, which is going to make future wastelands look pretty bad. Into an LED. Alright, so this is the opponent's upper tier draw. Let's see how much we get attacked for on this turn, if they can even attack us through this ley line. It's also possible that this ley line is just absolutely backbreaking and going to win the game for us. Looks like they did discard a Root Wallace, so they will get their 1/1 back because Madness does avoid Leyline of the Void. Otawara. We're just on the slow plan. We're not too worried about being attacked 1 a turn. Even if they go Faithless Looting, discard 2 more Root Wallas, our current draw has us just winning on turn 4. I guess making a 20-20 on turn 4, winning on turn 5. But that might just be fast enough. See if the opponent Madnesses in a few more creatures. I was going to say the less ideal would be like if they put in multiple Anji's Ravagers. They're still paying costs, so let's see what they're doing now. Hollow One. Hollow One puts us under a little bit more of a clock. Possible that we'll just Boseiju the Hollow One just to reduce the clock. Basically gives us something to do on turn 2. Alternatively, we can just mulch. Try and hit the other half of the combo. We could crop rotation now just for Thespian stage, but that seems overall bad. Exploration was a fantastic draw, so we can play 2 lands this turn. Probably just gonna... So, because we chose to use our green source for that, we now have Mazavith to answer the Hollow One and Dark Depths, but we can't cast Mulch like we could have if we had just... Ooh, opponent is end-stepping and Anji's Ravagers. So, of note, Mazavith does not favorably interact with Anji's Ravagers. It does prevent the 3 damage per turn. However, it still allows it to gain the draw 3 trigger, which is pretty powerful. So we're just going to prevent the most damage here by hitting the Hollow One. Take 4, go to 14. And the opponent puts a Pimp into play. Putrid Imp. And we'll go to our turn. We draw another Dark Depths. Not exactly the draw we were looking for. So here we can play Otawara. We can crop rotation away this 1 Dark Depths, so that we have a second green source. That was a really rough mulch. Only hit 1 land, and it's a Bajuka Bog while we already have their graveyard under control. Of note, if we had just gone for the combo this turn, that we would have had a 20-20. And Imp can't block while it's flying, so they would have had no blocker for that. Very likely we should have just gone for the combo that turn, instead of trying to cast a mulch. Hindsight 20/20 and all that. Of note, this should be likely the last league that's pre-recorded. The next league will unfortunately be a memorial league for a friend of mine that passed away a few days ago in a horrific accident. So, yeah. We'll take a couple extra points here from Basking Root Walla as it pumps up. And then I'm pretty sure we're clear just to win this game. Next turn we'll have a 20/20 to block the 4/4. We can untap the Ravager, and then they can't get in for enough damage on the other ones. I am committed to casting these Winding Ways, though. That's for sure. Got all 3 Dark Depths in hand. That's not exactly what we're looking to accomplish. If I play the Boseiju here, it'll actually create a zombie, which is a good blocker. So I think that's a good play. And now that we're at this point in the game, I'm pretty sure since we can crop rotation for 2 more blockers, that we've just won the game. So how we do that is we crop rotation for a fetch land and then crack the fetch land, in case anyone asked how we do it for 2. This is me considering if I should just go for the Dark Depths combo and then realizing that Maze of Ith does not tap for mana. Okay, this is where I will absolutely go for it. And I think I'm just going to go with the Tabernacle, right? Is it Tabernacle I go for here? It is indeed Tabernacle. Since they're putting another creature into play, that'll put them up to 6 creatures, and with only 4 lands, they can only pay for 2 of them. If even on their best case scenario, they pay for like 2 Putrid Imps, the Ravager and the Hollow One, I can block the Hollow One and the Ravager and only take 4. I'm not sure if that was better than just getting a fetch land to get 2 zombies. It definitely ties up their mana better. I think I definitely should have just been more aggressive with the combo, though, and just gone for a turn 4, here's my 20/20, can you win the game or are you dead? As Merit Law is just the ultimate Maze of Ith. Doesn't even untap him. Another Faithless Looting, okay. Opponent goes to 3 cards in hand and then back down to 1. Let's see what they discard. Pimp will never have Threshold because of the ley line. Gave it flying. Alright, let's see if they bash in for 1 damage here. They do. Alright, so here we can consider a double block or a single block or a Maze of Ith, and then we could have considered a Maze of Ith on their flying blocker and then block both their ground pounders. But frankly, I'm just sick of this Algae's Ravagers. I just want it off the table. Opponent getting a free Ancestral Recall every draw step is really wears on you. Alright, opponent paid 2 life to cycle a card. They must have a Hollow One in hand that they're trying to hit the land for. They did not get it. Pay to keep my zombie around with the card that created the zombie to begin with. dredge Life in the Loam. And hit another Field of the Dead. That's probably the game right there. So we're going to go ahead and put Field of the Dead in play. Get 2 zombies, put a fetch line into play, get 4 zombies, and then pass the turn back to the opponent. They cannot discard enough cards to make their guys flying, or they won't be alive to make their guys flying for 3 turns. So, oh, instead of playing the fetch line, I just lock down the second imp. That makes sense. So now they're both controlled by the maze. I can double block on the hollow one. Opponent still could get there with 6 damage of direct. But next turn I can play double fetch land, and that's just going to create 4 zombies per fetch land, which should be enough to swing for lethal. See what the opponent manages to string together. Mind you, we'll also be dredging Life in the Loam. Yeah. So there's a good potential that we will also be putting a 2020 into play in addition to any number of zombies. Exploration not quite as good as Manabond, clearly, but still very, very good. Opponent currently considering their options since they did not pay for the hollow one. Of note, I believe it is correct not to pay for the hollow one, since the hollow one is currently locked down pretty easily on the ground. I have 4 cards in hand. I haven't been playing cards. It should be pretty obvious that the cards in my hand are more lands. Opponent's considering if there's any other line they have here. It's quite possible we'll see the concession in just a moment. And there it is. Alright, looks like we won this match. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. Remember to like and comment. We appreciate your support on these videos. Hello everyone, and welcome to round 3 of this Legacy League with 8 Mulch. So this hand looks okay, but I think we can do better. This hand looks phenomenal. We'll put back the redundant Mulch effect. Technically speaking, Winding Way is the strictly better one. However, since we have no creatures main board, we can absolutely ditch it. It's one less click to cast Mulch since you don't have to choose creature or land. Looks like we're against Delver. See if we can get this Manabond to resolve. That would be big game, especially with the Field of the Dead and a Dark Depths already in hand. Looks like it might resolve. No, opponent, don't do it. This is my most powerful card. Dang it. The opponent had it. So they cast Force of Will. Alright, well, we're going to see if we can hit a Thespian stage. Would be the fastest way to win this game off of a Mulch. If not, then it's very likely that we'll try to work towards like a Wasteland lock to keep the opponent off mana. Opponent should have only 1 basic island to work with. Last zone. Okay. So we're going to go with the Wasteland. And the Splash Zone might clear out some 1-drops they have, such as Delver or Dragon Rage Channeler. However, as things currently stand, the plan next turn is to play the Splash Zone and cast Life in the Loam to buy back Wasteland. Start working our way towards a combo finish. Could also cast Mulch to see if we just find Thespian stage. Technically, which we did. Technically speaking, Mulch sees 1 more card than Life in the Loam. I believe that was my logic at the time. Also, I couldn't cast both next turn anyways, so yeah. Past me got me, present me on that one. Opponent is likely resolving a Murktide right now, especially at the speed that they're fetching. I believe that if we can just make a 20/20 next turn and the opponent doesn't have Wasteland, that we can beat a Murktide. Alright, so it looks like we got to beat a Murktide region, which I'm pretty confident we can do. We can put a 20/20 into play this turn, and I'm fairly confident that a 20/20 is larger than Murktide region. I'm sorry, not this turn, next turn. Alright, take our beats. Possible, since this is only a 4/4, that we should have Wastelanded instead. Would have kept the opponent off Expressive Iteration this turn, potentially. And we have the 2 more turns to play Dark Depths into Thespian Stage. So we'll see how this plays out. Probably going to either copy something or add a counter. Looks like we're going to go with copy something. A red source does give us the option of drawing into Pyroblast post-board. Not currently, though. Alright, I think we just put Dark Depths into play. And I think we immediately make the 20/20 to play around Wasteland, but maybe I'm mistaken. Actually, it's probably during their upkeep. Make a 20/20? Nope. Just not playing around Wasteland. Alright, cool. Opponent is brainstorming. See if they can find the answer. Not a fetch land into Dragon Rage Channeler. Alright, that's pretty good. Alright, so we can blow Blast Zone on 1 here, or we can make a 20/20. If we blow Blast Zone on 1, that's way better against Swords to Plowshares, but I think I'm just making the 20/20 and making them have it. Which they do. Would have made that Wasteland on the white source pretty powerful, but that's okay. We're at 36 now, so the opponent's going to have a ton of life to have to beat through. Mind you, once they have control of the game, that Murktide region can take chunks out of our life total. Exploration was a very good draw. A little unfortunate that we don't have a second green source. Interesting that I chose not to play it anyways. I probably should have played it out and gone for a Wasteland on their white source. I don't know why I'm so afraid of Wastelanding this opponent. Let me know what you think in the comments down below if you think that I should have Wastelanded this white source. You have the advantage of having perfect past tense knowledge. Future tense? You're in the future, looking back on my past. Yeah, like that. Alright, let's see where this goes. They draw the Wasteland. That's a very good answer to Blast Zone if they chose just to do that. Or they could Wasteland my green source. If they Wasteland my Boseiju and identify that I have not had a green source all game, that sets me back to the Stone Age. And they do. Super well played from the opponent to identify the weakness in our mana base. So now we just have to take draw steps to try and hit green source. We hit a Wasteland. Now is when I feel like I've decided that I will start Wastelanding the opponent. Take them off white in case we do make another 20/20, since we do have the combo in hand. And we should have at least 3 turns to make a 20/20 without the opponent being able to hit us for lethal. Opponent casts Predict. With the power of Dragon Rage Channeler, Predict always hits. And another Wasteland. Oof. Well, it kind of puts at least one combo off the board. Let's see if we can hit another green source. We do. Tropical Island. So if we cast this Life in the Loam, the first thing we want to do is target a green source, or we can go the greed play and just try to exploration and play out more wastelands. Ooh, we do go with the greed play. Let's see if this gets forced. It does. Wow. Of note, Life in the Loam would have been forced as well. But exploration, the reason why I played that is it would have allowed me to also play a wasteland or another Thespian stage this turn, and work towards beating this wasteland with multiple Thespian stages. You'll notice our 35 life total has shrank to 18 pretty quick. Opponent's casting a second predict. See how much we get hit for this turn. Opponent's tapping and untapping. Goes to combat, smacks us down a little bit more. We're all the way down to 11 now. They go ahead and decide to just proactively wasteland us. We're back to no green source. Yeah, I think we're just going to lose this game now since we don't have a green source. We could still make a 20-20 next turn, assuming that the opponent does not have another wasteland or a bolt. However, we will die to Lightning Bolt or second Murktide or Chain Lightning or any number of other cards. Alright, Brainstorm's going to give them 4 looks at the thing that kills us, so let's see if they find it. If they don't, we're still not in the best position. And there's a second Murktide. That's going to go ahead and kill us because it's going to buff the already existing Murktide in play to lethal levels. Murktide, the only thing it plays well with is itself. Well, of course, and the whole blue-red shell, but hey, who's counting? So I'm still not sure if it's correct to bring in these ley lines that are completely uncastable in our deck against Murktide and Dragon Rage Channeler. But I think we're going to go ahead and go with that. We're going to go ahead and take out this Crocus, as obviously they have no legendary creatures. Just feeling like I kind of trimmed this Otawara. It's possible I want to keep that in because Bouncy on Murktide is so strong. But I think if I'm sideboarding in the ley lines against the Murktides, that I don't want to go too heavy on that. It's possible I should have brought in all the Pyroblasts, shouldn't have taken out any of the green sources, not taken out the ley lines. Who knows? This hand, though, this hand is just absolutely insane. Leads off on an exploration into yet another exploration into another land drop. Let's see if the opponent just forces this. They did force it last game, I believe. They did not. Alright, well, good on them because we're just going right into another exploration. Shame we didn't have a third green source. Heh, right on time, Leyline. Right on time. Alright, Mulch, see what you give us. A force. You gave us a force. That's pretty good. Alright, I guess we can just cast another exploration and hope to rip another Mulch or Life in the Loam. Take our beats here. We have so many good draws. Dark Depths off the top just makes another 20/20 into play. Alright, we're going to copy this Wasteland and Wasteland our opponent, since apparently we're just not drawing very well into the combo. That's okay. Keeping their resources limited is the best thing that we can do right now, and that's great. We are getting hit for a lot of damage each turn, though. Read 2. 2 damage. Alright, so now we have to make the decision of, do we want to draw with Waterlogged Grove? And I do feel that that is correct. Manabond isn't the best draw when we already have 3 of those. Alright, we'll take our beats. Luckily, the opponent hasn't managed to produce much more of a clock since they played these 2 Dragon Rage Channelers, but I'm pretty sure that's going to end pretty quickly. Predict with double Dragon Rage Channeler allows them to be extra selective because they can mill the first one, keep the second one, and still draw 2. If I don't draw, they're still missing on a red source. If I don't draw a combo piece, I'll probably be priced into just wastelanding here and draw second ley line. That's not ideal at all. Alright, I said I would wasteland them. I've never had so much ability to ramp and nowhere to go with it. We're going to need to hit a mulch off the top that's going to have to deliver the best 4 cards that we could possibly hope for. Alright, opponent has found the red source, and we hit the mulch. Alright, so I do not have high hopes of this mulch resolving, but if it does, it could be the game. It resolved and hit not what we were looking for. Alright, we have died. Alright, we're back for round 3 here, and this looks like, with us being on the play, that we will keep. We have Acceleration, we have Mulches, we have Wastelands, Field of the Deads. The only thing we don't have is multiple green sources, so if the opponent has a Wasteland on our trop, things could get a little dicey. Alright, see if our Exploration resolves or if it gets forced. If it resolves, I'll play the tap land, and we're good. Uh-oh. Lowest Pedal's not a good sign. Exploration decks are notoriously bad against lowest pedal decks, and it's Reanimator. Alright, so as Reanimator is one of my other decks, I certainly have to say, the Reanimator player is probably very excited right now, as it is incredibly favored for them. And they even know they need to fetch a land that is not a basic, or fetch a land that is a basic to play around Wasteland. Now, that isn't to say that we don't have tools here. even though we're going to have at least our Winding Way stripped away. I mean, our mulch. And it looks like a turn 1 Gristlebrand on top of that. We could, in theory, draw a Thespian stage next turn and make an immediate 20/20 to contest this Gristlebrand. I would be very shocked if we started the turn still, then there's the Thoughtseize, able to cast this Winding Way. So yeah, let's see if we're lucky enough to rip that Thespian stage. Bog. Okay, Bog's not bad. Bog's is certainly a start. So we'll take away... Oh, we're just not going to play it yet. Okay, waiting for something juicier. There's not anything really reanimation target worthy in the graveyard. And perhaps we could play to a line where like the opponent does put a bunch of things in the graveyard. Because right now if they reanimate a Grief, that's actually a miss. Alright, we'll go to 13. They're going to 18. This is pretty favored for the Reanimator player, since they're able to now draw 14 additional cards. There's the first 7. Okay, the opponent is at 11. They could go to 4 to draw 7 more cards. Potentially that they want to play around Punishing Fire or something that deals them a small chunk of damage. They're certainly tanking on whether or not they should draw more cards. Oh, they're paying costs. Back to thinking if they should draw cards or not. General rule of thumb in the reanimation deck is if you can draw cards, you should. There are exceptions, but if you're just looking for a rough template, draw cards when you can. Alright, the opponent's tapping 2 mana and exhuming. Okay, so they'll get back their Grief. So they're probably playing around crop rotation there for the Bog that we actually naturally have in hand. And we'll just start our turn. Opponent will go to clean up and likely discard a whole bunch of fatties. And this is the turn that we will Bog them. Because then they will not be able to reanimate next turn, and that gives us another turn to draw the Thespian stage. I don't know if that's true now that I think about it. Because next turn we'll take the damage. Yeah, because Grief has Menace, we have to draw it this turn. So let's see if we're that lucky. Oh dear God, we got it. That's the card we needed. Alright, cool. So I guess... Oh, almost forgot to Bog them. Gotta Bog them. They have enough flying threats in there, including an Archon, that would just straight kill you, that you just want to go ahead and take away all of their toys. The best part about that top deck is since the opponent Thoughtseized us, they know that we top decked that. So their attacks here become a lot more interesting. Obviously they get in with the Menace creature, because even if we make the Dark Depths token, it can't block Grief. However, the other question is whether or not they get in with Gristlebrand. Since they're dead to Merit Lodge attacking, it's pretty likely that they'll hold it back. I imagine that they're going to start by drawing 7 cards first, though, to maximize the options before they have to make the decision. Nope, they're just going to go to combat and attack with Grief. Okay. We will take 3, go to 10, and look to make a 20/20 during the end step. Alright, make sure we keep the right Dark Depths here, make a 20/20. So mind you, it's pretty likely they're just going to block, draw 7 cards, and find another reanimation effect, or multiple, to put multiple threats on the board, but this still puts lethal on the board if they don't block. Oh, that's a Caracas. Gristlebrand is a legendary creature. Well, that's going to take away their only blocker. Alright, well, let's find out if the opponent has a Sudden Edict. They're drawing for it, so it's pretty likely. And? Do you have a Sudden Edict, or did we just top deck the win? Wow, we just got game 1 against Reanimator. That's absolutely insane. Okay, well, that's pretty good first game. Let's go. They don't even know that we have these ley lines. They don't even know we have ley lines. That's amazing. Well, we're definitely keeping Caracas. Whereas the other matchups, we didn't want Caracas because they don't have legendary creatures. In this matchup, they do have legendary creatures, so we do want Caracas. Yeah, I back and forth on the Force of Vigor, because Force of Vigor could technically take out an Animate Dead, but yeah. Basically, I just want to make room for these ley lines. Alright, well, this hand's interesting. We have no life in the loam, we have no mulch, but we do have Wasteland plus Leyline. We're going to go ahead and keep on the power of Leyline and just hope that they don't expect Leyline out of lands. Swamp and a pass. Shame it's not a non-basic. Waterlogged Grove there was a very decent draw because it allows us to draw a card. We should have shocked, by the way, there with the Stomping Ground, or used... I didn't want to use Grove or the Burn Willows to put my opponent to 21. Opponent hitting us with the Hymn to Torok. Can't say I saw that one coming. Third Exploration. Uh-oh, this is feeling a lot like our Delver game. So I think I will draw a card off this Waterlogged Grove, but I'll wait till the opponent's end step. Play around Hymn to Torok, apparently. See what we draw. Manabond, so we got 3 Explorations and a Manabond again. And a fetch land. Okay. I guess we play out the Manabond and then just pass the turn. This Leyline does seem to have done work, though, because the opponent has not done anything for a few turns. See what the opponent does from here. By the way, on my next video, you should notice a new overlay. So let me know if you like that one or not. Boseiju. That's certainly an interesting one. I'm going to go ahead and play that out. Even though it could, in theory, counter an Animate Dead by destroying it. The opponent is not really Animate Deading while I have a Leyline in play. And this, in theory, works me towards a Field of the Dead I could top deck into. I don't think I'm going to Ghost Quarter the opponent that has 2 basic swamps in play already, but I might get, a little frisky at some point. We'll see. We have 5 lands in play and none of them share a name. Not correcting the fetch so that if we do draw a Field of the Dead, it could generate an additional zombie. Alright, opponent's now passing through their phases, so let's take it back to us. Mulch would be obviously the best top deck we could get, because it's like a potential... Oh, Winding Way. Winding Way is kind of like a Mulch. Should have tapped the Beseiju there instead of the red source. Drew 4 on it. That was a better Ancestral Recall. I would like to note that this draw 4 will make 4 zombies. I could fetch for a 5th zombie. Oh wait, no, I didn't hit Field Dead. What am I even talking about? It only makes a 20/20 and puts a Tabernacle in play. So let's see how the opponent plans to beat this 20/20. I'm sure they have options. Sudden Edict is a card they seem to be playing towards last game, so it's very potential that they have it this game as well. Lake of the Dead. Alright, so they're going to sack all their mana sources to make a whole bunch of black and cast Ad Nauseam. That'd be pretty hot. And concede. Alright. Good game, opponent. Alright, so we're back here for the next round of this Legacy League, and this hand, I think we can find Acceleration. This hand, has the combo, so we can go Dark Depths into Thespian Stage for this crop rotation. We have Acceleration with Exploration, as well as Selection with crop rotation. These hands seem fine. If the opponent plays a blue fetch and fetches, I will likely... Okay, just blue land. I was going to crop rotation in response, just to try and get Thespian Stage going. Now that we have the life in the loam, I think it's correct to just try and make a 20/20. So we're going to go ahead and play out 2 lands. And crop rotation for... Try and crop rotation for a Thespian Stage and see if it resolves. If it does, we'll put a 20/20 into play next turn. Opponent's currently on an island deck. The current prevailing island decks are 8 casts, which would probably have cast a few more spells. And Days Undoing Narset. Of course, never discount that it can be something entirely different, as the opponent plays more unexpected cards. Maybe it's just Delver again, and they just happen to have their 1 of Island. Very possible. Alright, so let's see if the opponent just wastelands this Thespian Stage now, or lets us untap. We're going to dredge this loam, because we're going to expect not to have this 20/20 still in play. Hit wasteland off the dredge. So if the opponent does not wasteland us in response to us playing these lands... Ooh, definitely should have played the Dark Depths out as well. Oh, it's... Oops, that's an Ancient Tomb. So, I should have... I was concerned about dying to Show and Tell. Sorry, that's a Wasteland. Not a Wasteland, that's an Ancient Tomb. I was very concerned about dying to Show and Tell. I am ghost quartering here because I have the potential to lock them down with both ghost quarter and wasteland. However, this is like the fifth time I'm saying this league, but it's very likely that I should have just gone for a fast 2020. Opponent reveals they are mono blue paradigm shift. Paradigm shift. So they are shifting all of the cards with their deck, with the cards in the graveyard. That's what this great amount of lag is. And then their deck becomes the 2 cards that they had. So they likely have a Thassa's Oracle in hand. We will do what we can. Unfortunately, we ghost quartered them to put an island into their deck. So we cannot ghost quarter them off blue. What I will do is I will put this ghost quarter back into my hand. Since I no longer need to make a 2020 to win, I literally just have to deck them. I will move to their draw step and hope that the card they draw is the one of the 2 islands that they have left in their deck. One of the 2 cards left in their deck is the island for their draw step. And if it is, then when we wasteland them, it will effectively be strip mine. And by strip mining them, let's go ahead and set the correct stop. They should not be able to cast Thassa's Oracle this turn. So, see if their draw step was the island. And it was not. So they still had an island in their deck to search out. Their deck is now empty since we helped them search. So they kill us with an Otawara in hand. Alright, well played, opponent. Of note, we would have been able to get there if they had drawn the island. So, if there was ever a deck that we're so glad we have 4 Pyroblasts against, it's this one. Probably also want the Force of Vigor since it hits the Thought Lash half of the combo. Certainly facing against a lot of combo all of a sudden. But that's okay. We're going with the strategy of take out bad cards, bring in good cards. A tried and true strategy indeed. Bog's an interesting one because it can turn off their shifts, or it could absolutely enable them. So I'm going to go on the air. I'm debating on airing on do I bring one in and bring the Bog in and have it as a crop rotation option, or do I leave the crop rotation to be able to potentially offer a fast 2020? These Pyroblasts certainly, though, are good to have. So we'll take the play here for game 2. And this hand is 1 mulch away from everything I ever wanted from Magic. So we're just going to try and resolve a Manabond, see if we can survive from our opponent's likely 8 Force of Wills. Of note, we do have the crop rotation in our hand, so if we had Bojuka Bog in our deck, we would have that line available to us. Manabond did resolve. So now we have the option of just junking this crop rotation to just put 4 lands into play. I still feel that we want this crop rotation more, but if we just draw another land next turn, there's a chance that I will just cast the crop rotation and then trigger the Manabond. If I can hit lands for 2 draw steps, it actually becomes better to not trigger Manabond, because then you will put a whole bunch of power and zombies into play. Alright, so current prevailing thought is crop rotation for Wasteland on that Shelldock Isle, but we'll see where we go from here. Mulch, maybe? Yavimaya. Okay. That gives us a pretty stable green source. See if I decide to go with a crop rotation line. Looks like I am. I feel like it should just be Wasteland, just take them off. Dark Depths is pretty good too. Oh god. I look so much sillier when I'm recording the voice afterwards, because the good news is Alex playing the deck knows what's up. He's going to go ahead and make a nice 2020 to go ahead and combat the opponent and ask the opponent, can you kill me this turn? And if not, kill them with the 2020. So, yeah. Good job recording, Alex, and not voice over Alex. Once again, they will be, in the next video, one in the same person. First off, it takes twice as long to do it this way anyways, because I have to record the whole league, which is X amount of hours of my life, and then I have to record the audio, which is X amount of hours of my life, plus a modifier for having to match it up with the video. So, sideboarding. Did I decide to swap back in that Bajuka Bog after that game where I had crop rotation? It's possible. Not sure if I did or not. Alright, let's see what we got here. Game 3, we're on the draw. Final match of this league. And this is a heater. We don't have red for our Pyroblast, but we have Manabond. We could have red for our Pyroblast, because we have Manabond, crop rotation, mulch, and having the Pyroblast against the mono blue combo deck just feels... I feel like this is what we want to be doing. So I'm quite happy that it appears to be going that way. Opponent's taking a couple mulligans. Alright, they are pre-gaming what appears to be a Leyline of the Void, and then playing a Shelldock Isle. So Leyline of the Void doesn't affect this hand at all. In fact, if I draw another Monosaurus, it means that I have the option of just going for a Dark Depths line. So we'll see where that goes. Second Manabond isn't exactly what we want to be doing unless the first one gets countered. A little bit of a risky line here, going and grabbing a red source. Just completely and absolutely disregarding any force of wills whatsoever. But hey, apparently we're playing crazy. Third Manabond. Alright, things aren't looking so good for our hero anymore. If we had played Manabond on 1, we could have mulched this turn and potentially done something, but I think we're leaning pretty heavy on this Pyroblast. The opponent could easily blow us out with like a Flusterstorm. Alright, looks like the mulligan's pretty hard for that Leyline, so maybe we can get something going now. A little bit of a shame that my only green source I have to tap if I want a Winding Way or Mulch. We did get a Wasteland and a Trop, so I'm going to go ahead and run out the Manabond. I think it's better to still wait another turn. It's possible we die next turn to Shift plus Oracle, because they will have at least 4 mana, and this will be the turn we're tapped down. But it's not like putting a Manabond trigger onto the stack and then resolving it will solve that issue, as it'll put them down to 3 mana, so it actually could have solved that issue. But I feel like having the Pyroblast available is still better. Opponent is cycling a Shark Typhoon. Alright, well that's an interesting sideboard strategy. Alright, opponent has a reasonably sized shark but chose not to sack the petal. Interesting. 3, 4, 5, 6. So the opponent has 6 mana, passes the turn. We draw yet another Mulch, so we're going to go ahead and lead off with that. If it gets countered, we'll just cast Winding Way. Cool, we'll put all these lands into our hand, including Field of the Dead. So now I feel like we just play Wasteland and Wasteland them. Yes. So by taking them off Shelldock, if they potentially have Emrakul underneath it, it stops them from being able to shift plus Emrakul us. And with the opponent being on such low resources, it feels like it was the time to do that. I do still have the red up for Pyroblast if the opponent does try to go for a combo of some sort this turn. They appear to be pretty content just beating me for 2 a turn with their Shark, which kind of works for me too. Alright, I'm going to try and force some action on this since I'm likely discarding my hand to this Manabond trigger anyways. Okay, we answered the Shark and drew another Pyroblast. Oh dear God. Alright, so the opponent probably put us on the read of having another Pyroblast anyways, but now we get it for certain. Sick. That was a draw 4 and a second Field of the Dead. Alright, so I believe this is just where I put lethal zombies on the battlefield and hope my opponent doesn't kill me. I do have to discard the Pyroblast, but I think that's just a choice that I have to make. I could play a land and Boseiju like a Leyline or the dual land, but I don't feel that's helping because it still has them on enough mana to kill us. Is that true? Yes. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is not true because that would put them down to 5 mana and they could play land if it's not Ancient Tomb. So definitely should have considered just Boseijuing their land, because then they would have to have a land drop to go to 7. What 7 would do is allow them to shift and then uptick Jace to win the game. Alright, here's my zomboys. This is my army. There are many armies like this one, but this is the Scorpion King's army. And I hope it wins me the game. And we won. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time.